Good morning, good morning, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning and welcome back to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. Here, grateful, thankful for this wonderful time and opportunity that God has afforded us to gather together in this virtual space and place to dive into yet another Good Morning Grief Devotion. Thank you so very much for joining us. Make sure you like, share, tag somebody in this post. If the lesson is a blessing to you, 10 times out of 10 is going to be a blessing to somebody else. And so, share the love, share the wealth. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. That grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. And I thank you so very much for joining us this morning as we lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. Today, my brothers and sisters, is day 7. Today is day 7. This message is straight from heaven. We're going to talk about the stillness of grief. The stillness of grief. Let's talk about it, y'all. Grief has a way of slowing everything down. Grief has a way of slowing everything down. The days feel longer, the nights feel heavier, and the world seems to move at a pace you can't keep up with. It is the stillness of grief. Have y'all experienced that as you navigated through your grief journey? Perhaps in one time or another, one season of another, that the days seem longer, the nights seem heavier, that everything seemed to slow down. The world was moving at a pace that you couldn't keep up with. This is what you got to know and understand. Stillness can be a space for reflection and renewal. That stillness, it is a space for reflection and renewal. I love stillness. Stillness is part of spiritual formation. When you start talking about growth, spiritual formation, it is a spiritual discipline. It's a spiritual discipline. With stillness, you detach from busyness um, so that you can hear from God. You get into the flow of God, because so many of us, we are addicted to busy. We are addicted to busy. We go, 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 and we don't take the time to be still, right? And one thing about grief, grief is gonna make you be still, right? And some of us, we try to even stay busy in our grief as a coping mechanism, number one, or even number two, as a way to suppress and not have to address the grief that we're going through. Grief has a way of making you be still, and it's not a bad thing, because stillness is a time for reflection and renewal. Yeah, through a life altering, you've gone through a life altering um, circumstance. And this is a great time as you continue to navigate through it. It's a time for reflection, and it's a time for renewal. It's a time to you reflect on life and what it's about, and our own mortality, and reflect upon the life that was lost, right? And the life that we have left. It is a great time for reflection, and it is a great time for renewal to take place. It's in these moments of quiet that healing often begins, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Yeah, this is one of those things to where we talked about before, the Chinese bamboo tree. There's this thing called the Chinese bamboo tree that you have to plant. You have to water every single day. It has to get sunlight every single day. Um, but it does not grow for 5 years. But every single day you got to water it. You got to let it get some sunlight. But it won't grow for 5 years. I mean, for five, you have to do this every single day for 5 years. And then in that fifth year, right, it sprouts up. It sprouts up like 90 feet in a short period of time. And you ask yourself the question, did it start growing in the fifth year, or was it growing all along? Well, the reality is it was growing all along. Even though if you didn't see it, even though if it didn't seem like it, even though if it didn't look like it, oh, it was growing. And it took the watering of the seed for 5 years in order for it to grow. When you start talking about your grief journey, stillness is one of those things that helps you to grow. When you begin to reflect, when you begin to put yourself in a position to get renewed, this is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And I love the way it coined it. It said these moments of quiet that it is in these moments of quiet that healing often begins, even when it feels like nothing is happening. It might feel like the Chinese bamboo tree. You may feel like, man, ain't nothing happening. I'm not healing. You may show up every single day to this grief devotion and be like, man, I'm not healing. You may show up to your counselor, your therapist, all of these. You may have times of quiet time and you feel like as if nothing is changing. And the thing is that, man, things are being cultivated during this time. This is your watering of the seed. This is your watering of your grief. This is your watering and your sunlight. And when you are consistent and you navigate through this over a period of time, right? Oh, you start to see the growth. You start to see the healing. You start to see the exponential healing and growth taking place in your life, right? But it's going to take opportunities for you to lean into stillness, for you to lean into times of reflection as well as renewal. I love this, y'all, because stillness isn't emptiness, it's the fertile ground where hope takes root. It's the gift of peace, clarity, and restoration that comes from quieting the noise of life and embracing moments of calm. All it allows you to reconnect with yourself, hear the whispers of your soul, and tune into the voice of God. Stillness reminds us that productivity and growth aren't always about action, that sometimes the most profound transformations happen in the quiet moments when we pause, breathe, and simply be. When we pause, when we breathe, and when we simply be. Here it is. This is what you got to do. Let yourself breathe, pause, and rest in the moment. The stillness of grief can become the foundation for strength. You don't have to be afraid of stillness. You don't have to be afraid of quiet. You don't have to be afraid of calm, right? These things become foundational for your strength. Here's the point of application. Here's your POV. This is what I need you to do. Take 5 minutes today to sit in stillness. Focus on your breath or a comforting thought. Allow yourself to simply be. Now, this is one of those tools, tips, and techniques that I used to think like, man, please. But when I tell you how powerful it is for you to practice stillness, for you to just spend 5 minutes a day to just breathe, right? In through your nose, out through your mouth fully, for you to be able to breathe, for you to be able to focus on a single thought, for you to be able to not worry about doing, and you can simply just focus on being, one of the most powerful things you can do. So that's your point of application today. Take the 5 minutes, sit in stillness, focus on your breath, or a comforting thought. Allow yourself not to do, but allow yourself simply, my brothers and sisters, simply to be. Today is day 7. I told you this message is straight from heaven. The stillness of grief. It's the stillness of grief. You don't have to be afraid of it. It's the stillness of grief. Allow that time for renewal and reflection as you continue to navigate through your grief journey. And guess what? We gonna make it day by day, minute by minute, moment by moment, step by step. Small steps are going to lead to great distances, and we are going to navigate through this journey together. I appreciate y'all joining us on today. I don't know if y'all got questions. Y'all got questions, holla at your boy. If y'all got questions, holla at your boy. I know it's the month of January. We're navigating through our grief journey together. Don't be afraid of stillness. Don't be afraid of calm. I love it, Mother, to hear. That's right. Pause, breathe, and rest in stillness. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. Pause, breathe, rest in stillness. Reflect, get renewed, right? Get everything that you need so that you can continue to make it on this grief journey. No questions. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place. Come on, let's go.